Hey guys, it's Steven. Today I have the 2021 Audi Q5 Premium Plus. This one here is the 45 trim, which means that it comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it is not a hybrid. The other trim available for the 2021 model year is the 55, which means that it does have that hybrid engine, which gives it a lot more horsepower. So I'm going to try and keep this review relatively short. I don't have too much time with this vehicle, but wanted to go over some of the notable changes in the 2021 model year, where Audi gave the Q5, their bestseller in their lineup, a light refresh on both the exterior and interior. The biggest new element is going to be this new corporate grille in the front, right? Audi's kind of doing this across their whole lineup, giving them some vertical chrome slats. I have to admit, when I first saw this, I really wasn't the biggest fan of it, but over time it's kind of grown on me. I do think with the S-Line exterior package, you get that nice honeycomb pattern, blacked out, that looks a lot more fierce, but I think this still is definitely befitting of a luxury brand like Audi. And again, on the rear here, you do have a few light refreshes as well. Mainly the chrome bar that goes across the entire rear of the vehicle. That is new in the 2021 model year. And they've done a few things with the taillights to keep it looking more fresh as well. That's pretty much it for the exterior changes, at least the notable ones. The interior, you get that new 10.1-inch standard infotainment screen. That is a touchscreen, and that is standard across the entire lineup, even if you go for the base premium trim. So Audi definitely kept the vehicle competitive in the 2021 model year. I definitely think it has an edge over some products, but you know, the X3 and GLC always offer some stiff competition for this vehicle. Now let's get into some numbers for this car. This car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, makes 261 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Those are decent numbers and actually up from the previous year. So in 2020, we had some lower numbers, I think 248 horsepower, and we got 13 more horsepower with the new engine design here. This comes with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission with Audi's famous Quattro all-wheel drive, and you get 22 city, 28 highway, and 25 combined miles per gallon. So not the most efficient thing around the block, but pretty average in the luxury compact SUV class. So the base Q5 starts at $43,000 for the MSRP, whereas the Premium Plus trim, which is the second trim in the lineup, gives you a starting price of about $48,000. But with that extra $5,000, you do get a lot of additional goodies like the pano sunroof, a full pano sunroof. You get these nicer 19-inch alloy wheels, and then you also get adaptive cruise control. You also get the 360 surround view camera. So I definitely think it's worth stepping up to the Premium Plus trim. It definitely gives you the most bang for your buck. And the Prestige trim is above that, starting at about $52,000, and that gives you things like the Bang & Olufsen sound system and the heads-up display. So kind of the over-the-top features that, you know, some people will want, but I think the Premium Plus is definitely that sweet spot in the lineup. So this specific Audi Q5 Premium Plus does MSRP right at around $48,000. This is pretty bare bones. You don't have too many options on this vehicle. It is a loaner vehicle, and you do have this Manhattan gray metallic color, which actually, I mean, look right now, it looks really striking because I just washed it, but the reflection of the clouds is really gorgeous. And honestly, for a base color, this color has no additional cost with it. This looks pretty darn good, I think. I love that chrome accents, right? The chrome window trim, the roof bars, and the alloy wheels, along with that chrome accent on the very bottom of the vehicle, I really think makes this exterior look quite good. The wheels are also a pretty big standout, I think. They look pretty, you know, typical of a luxury vehicle, but I think wheels these days are just getting so much nicer and luxurious looking, especially as you get, you know, higher into the trim levels. Going into the rear here, this car does have a little bit of a lack of storage space compared to the competitors, but not by much. Open the trunk here. It is, of course, power. And you get about 25 cubic feet of cargo space here, which, I mean, you can see it looks like quite a decent amount of space, and you do have some nice bags on the sides to kind of keep things from sliding, as you can see here. And then you can also lift this, and you've got spare tire, of course. But yeah, storage is not bad. It's just a little lower than the competitors. With the, you can fold the second row down, and that does give you a lot more space. I think almost gets you up to 50 cubic feet of cargo space. If you go into the rear here, you can actually use this nice little lever to quickly fold down the seats. I'm not going to do that right now because I have some of my recording equipment there, but yeah, so that's kind of a walk around that side. Let's kind of wrap up by going to the front here, which is one of the biggest changes Audi made in 2021. Very noticeable change. Again, this grille, I talked about it before. You know, the S-Line package, I think $3,000 for that, but gives you a nicer, more sporty looking grille. You have these LED headlights here. These aren't the Matrix LED headlights that do a little dance when you approach and when you start the vehicle as well. This one is just the normal LEDs, but they look pretty darn good. And oh, wanted to mention in the rear, you've also got those dynamic taillights that I love. That is one of the things that attracted me to Audis when I was younger and growing up. And I mean, Audis have always, you know, been such a unique car to see from a mile away, right? Because you see those dynamic taillights and it's so cool. So while the exterior of the Audi really hasn't changed too much, I mean, the Q5 is their bread and butter vehicle and sells tons of units every year. I do think it could use a redesign. Even with that refresh in 2021, the 2023 model looks the exact same. It could use a redesign at some point to keep it competitive and more modern. Audi really goes for a more understated look, which I think some people appreciate, but I do think it's starting to show its age a little bit. Wanted to show you guys quickly this key fob. This is the new Audi key fob for the Q5, so a little different from the previous years, but they're keeping it a little modern. It's still a little thick, but it fits easily in my pocket. And I'll take you guys into the interior now. So one thing I like is that the grab handles go up instead of out, kind of a unique touch that Audi does. And immediately you can see, wow, this interior looks striking in this daylight especially. You've got the nice walnut wood inlays. That trim looks awesome. And you've got rock gray contrast stitching with some black seats. So I would prefer a lighter color for the seats since it kind of matches the exterior, but the rock gray stitching gives it some really nice contrast anyways. And starting with these door panels, the wood looks fantastic with this black interior. You've got leather here, some leather here, but at here it becomes plastic all around everywhere else. But yeah, you've got some storage right here for a cup or a mask. And kind of going inside, start the car because it is very hot outside today. Got the classic Audi chime, and the star of the show here is going to be this 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. This is another reason to upgrade to the Premium Plus trim, is that you only get this awesome configurable gauge cluster in the Premium Plus trim. So the other trims do get a digital gauge cluster, but it's not the virtual cockpit, which is what Audi calls this one. This one is cooler. You get some more buttons on your steering wheel, you get to change the view, and you get to, you know, scroll through different things. It shows a myriad of different things, and it's really, really cool. I really love this. Unfortunately, the navigation package is separate, so Premium Plus doesn't come with navigation, and that's a $1,500 option, I believe, so I can't actually use the really cool view where it shows, you know, the navigation throughout this entire area. That's one of, you know, people's favorite views, but I can't use it because I don't have the navigation package, so I kind of stick to this, but it is also configurable via the infotainment system. So yeah, really cool steering wheel. I love Audi steering wheels. I always talk about this. I think they are my second favorite in the industry behind Lexus, though the more I drive this Audi, the more I feel like it might be my actual favorite. I just really love how thick it is, and I think it's really easy to use as well. I think the buttons to skip track and change the volume are all really easy to use. I kind of scooted back there a little bit, but yeah, so heated steering wheel button right here, voice commands, everything is intuitive and easy to find. Adaptive cruise control is right here in this stalk over here. And then one interesting thing that a lot of people can't find is this lane keep button. It is actually it's pressing into the turn stalk, so you can see the little button, the little appearance icon shows right there. But yeah, going into here, this actually looks a little small. I feel like it looks smaller on camera right now, but this is 10.1 inches, and I do love that Apple CarPlay takes the entire screen. That looks a lot nicer than some of the other competitors these days. And I mean, this is just a good infotainment system. It's pretty fast. I do think it's starting to show its age a little bit, but it's fast and configurable. You can configure all these different widgets. You can pull down to access things quickly, like your sound settings, and things are generally quite fast, I would say. It's intuitive as well. You've got your displays and stuff like that. You can kind of see here that you can configure the cockpit here. Sport and Classic, I was trying for so long to figure out what the difference was between them. You can see now. I'm gonna change it. You see the difference? It's that these RPMs here, your red line, becomes slightly less red. So kind of funny there, but yeah, so you can change the appearance and you can make it dynamic. So this one's a extra crazy one. And you can see it does cool animations while it's changing too. And then again, you can change the view. So, I mean, just overall, it's cool. I love the way the animations work in this car. I think I'm going to keep it in sport for now. I don't know if I actually clicked that. I did not. Okay, there we go. So otherwise, I mean, like I said, this is a great infotainment system, really one of the best in the industry. I do think it is kind of starting to show its age. I do like this actually over the double screen layout that is in some of their bigger cars, like the A7 that I recently reviewed, trying to think what else. Yeah, the other, I mean, their A8 and A6 and all of those different ones. The Q7 also uses that dual display for the HVAC controls here. I like having these hard buttons for the HVAC controls. I think they're easy to use. You've got heated seats, ventilated seats would be right here. This is really nice and clicky. It's easy to use. All of these things, super simple. I love how when you get close to it, it basically senses you're tapping it, and then it can show you what the different options are. I think that's just intuitive and nice and kind of a classic touch. You've got your drive mode selector down here. The modes you have here are going to be off-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. I pretty much keep it in auto at all times unless I really want to rev it, and then I go dynamic. But this car, again, it's quick, but it's not. It doesn't give you nice exhaust notes or anything like that. This car's dual clutch transmission is very lightning fast on its switches and smooth, but really isn't going to be that aggressive thing that you're looking for possibly. If you want aggressive, step up to the SQ5. You've got your parking sensors here, hill assist, turning off the display. You have a lot of cool storage compartments. I really like all these different storage compartments. I haven't really found a great use for a lot of these yet, but you've got a power outlet, USB-C here, your volume control skip track. I do think they could get rid of this because honestly, I have never once used it. Sometimes I bump into it and turn the volume up, and that's kind of annoying. I love the gear selector. This is a great gear shift. Parking brake, and another weird storage place here for maybe a pen. And then your cup holders. I will say this cup holder design isn't my favorite. I do love this luxury touch of that this stays wherever you put it, so you don't have to worry about it falling down. You can move this if you don't have cups here. So if I throw my cups over here, bam. Easy to use. I love the wireless charging pad that is standard, as is wireless Apple CarPlay, which is awesome for you Apple lovers. Android Auto, unfortunately, is still wired only, but you do have the wireless charging pad either way. So yeah, you can push this back to get access to these cup holders. But yeah, you've got some additional storage down there and a USB-C, or USB-A. So rounding out the rest of this review here, let's take a look at the second row seats. Important for compact SUVs here, as you're probably going to be taking 4 passengers in this relatively frequently. You've got this huge pano sunroof. I love it. Wow, extends all the way back there. Feels very airy in this second row with that. So headroom is good. I can show you guys here. Headroom and legroom is great. I have more than enough space to stretch out, and this is my normal driving position. You have some classic amenities here, like a third row or a second row climate control. So you have 3-row automatic climate control here, and you've got some charge outlets there as well. Those are USB-A. Also a power outlet. So yeah, you've got some same amenities back here. You've got the great walnut wood trim and the sound system. Speaker caps don't look too great, but it is actually a pretty good sound system, as I'll talk about during the driving portion of this review. So yeah, I really wouldn't mind at all spending some hours back here. It's very, very spacious. And you've got some cup holders, of course, as you would expect here. So easy to use, and again, you can fold down these seats for some more storage if you need to. So versatility is obviously an important thing, and practicality is also a huge thing people look for in the compact luxury SUV segment, and Audi does it quite well while maintaining that nice luxury balance. All right, so let's take this for a drive around the block, and I'll talk through some of my driving impressions after driving this for a few days. So first thing I want to talk about, I just mentioned balance in my interior section, right? Like, this car has such a great balance of luxury features, sporty features, and just it really is that jack of all trades car. And I think that's an important thing that separates this from some of the other competitors in this area, in which they might focus more on the luxury side or the sporty side, or, you know, it's all depending on marketing, right? At the end of the day, like, it depends how the brand wants to market itself. But I think Audi has always done a good job with the Q5 at making it that good blend of both luxury and sporty, and you really wouldn't expect this to be that sporty, but it really does impress people with its pickup. I'll try and get some nice revs here soon, but while we wait at the stoplight, I'll talk about a little bit about the comfort part. So very quiet on the interior. Okay, wait, we got a rev here, and handling is also pretty good. But yeah, impressive, right? I'm able to get to like 5,000 RPM. I wasn't even in dynamic mode at that point. And dynamic mode is the one that lets you get to like closer to the red line at what, 7,000 RPM. So that's pretty cool, right? Like I think the dual clutch transmission is great. It shifts so fast, you can't even feel it. And I mean, with most cars these days, the transmissions are just lightning quick and the shifts are so smooth. And I mean, this engine and transmission is really a great combination from Audi. And it keeps driving very refined. It keeps it very refined when you want it to be, right? So when I'm just cruising through the freeway or, you know, driving through city streets, like keeping it in auto, comfortable, right? And when I really need to step on it like that, it really pulls through, and I really appreciate that. All right, I put ourselves in dynamic here. Flooring it. Yeah, 7,000 RPMs before I shift. And again, shifting to 4th gear and in 70 miles per hour. That is so cool. How cool is that? That's just not something that you can do with, you know, the NX or the RDX. It doesn't feel the same, at least. So I love the Audi. One small cool thing about this car that I nitpick with a lot of other vehicles is that when you put this in a drive mode like dynamic, it stays in dynamic when you start up the car the next time. That is something that I feel like so many manufacturers can't get right. And it really bothers me. Having to switch to sport mode every single time, or sport plus in other vehicles, like, come on. That's just something that the programming should get better. I was talking about, you know, comfort and luxury touches a little earlier, and I mean, this is a comfortable cabin. I wouldn't say these seats are a standout. They're fine in this segment. I wouldn't expect more, but they're pretty standard seats, and they keep you comfortable on long car rides, and overall, it's a nice place to spend some time, right? So like I said, you've got that blend of athletic, sporty handling, honestly, and you also do have a very nice touch of luxury. So overall, this car continues to impress me. Every time I get into Q5, I feel like I've already been in it, I know what it feels like, but every time I drive it, I still have fun, and, you know, it always puts a smile on my face, which is impressive once you've driven a car, you know, that much. And it's the base model. It's not that interesting. The Premium Plus trim does give those goodies. 360 surround view camera is great. I really recommend that. One thing I also want to highlight is the bass sound system is actually quite nice. That's one thing that not many cars get right in the bass sound system, but this one, no name brand, not the Bang & Olufsen, and still pretty good. Probably one of the best bass sound systems I've heard in a vehicle, at least recently. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about through this review. I think this car will surprise people with its spry handling, and, you know, overall, if you love the look of Audi and kind of just the overall feel that they give, I feel like their brand really gives you this kind of unique thing where it's not like trying to be sporty like BMW, but also not trying to be overly luxurious like GLC and overly flashy like the Mercedes. I really think that this is a good fit for a lot of people out there. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I really appreciate you guys watching. You can subscribe down here and take a look at my other videos up here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.